Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. So, I am Christiane Colatzimabal and I'm the first reporter for the Chapter 4. And my topic is all about Crisis Management Organization. So, what is Crisis Management Organization? It determines the level of authorities, responsibilities, and accountabilities. So, an example of a Crisis Management Organization is NDRRMC, or National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. So, the purpose of this one is to ensure the protection and welfare of the people during disasters, emergencies, or crisis. So, there are three significant characteristics in establishing crisis management organization. So, first one is short deliberation time. So, when crisis occurs, either man-made or natural crisis, the amount of time available for deliberation is comparatively short. So it means it refers to a quick decision-making process during emergencies. For example, during a typhoon, the NDRRMC issues evacuation orders immediately to ensure public safety rather than waiting for full damages. And the second is national and local level coordination. So, what is national and local level coordination? This refers to the collaboration between national agencies and local government units, or LGUs. Example of this one is during a major flood, the NDRRMC coordinates with LGUs to deploy rescue teams, distribute relief goods, and manage evacuation centers. National level sets policies, provides resources, and coordinates large-scale responses. And the local level implements disaster response, conduct evacuation, and provides immediate assistance to affected communities. The third one is the integration of government agencies and other stakeholders. So this refers to the collaboration of various sectors to effectively manage crises and disasters. Example, during the earthquake, the NDRRMC works with the Philippine Red Cross, local government units, hospitals, medias, and volunteer groups to conduct rescue, relief, and rehabilitation efforts. So, integration in crisis management means bringing together different sectors. Next is Crisis Management Committee, or what we call CMC. This is a specialized group formed within an organization, government, or institution to plan, coordinate, and manage actions during a crisis or emergency. So, a CMC is usually composed of representatives from government agencies like NDRRMC, DOH, PNP, and AFP, local government units, private sector representatives, NGOs and humanitarian organizations, healthy and safety officers, media and communication officers. So, there are 5 critical tasks of CMC. First one is sense-making. This is considered as the classical assessment step in decision-making. For example, during a typhoon, the CMC gathers data from PAGASA and LGUs to assess affected areas. Second is decision-making. So, this both the act of deciding on the implementation of that decision. For example, deciding whether to declare a state of calamity, order evacuations, or deploy rescue teams. Third one is meaning-making. So, this refers to crisis management as a political communication. For example, the CMC announces safety guidelines, evacuation sites, and emergency hotlines through TV, radio, and social media. Fourth one is terminating. Termination of the crisis committee through its chairperson correctly handles the accountability question. So, for example, lifting evacuation orders after floodwaters subside and declaring affected areas safe. And last one, the fifth one is learning. This refers to the actual learning from a crisis. For example, after a volcanic eruption, the CMC reviews its evacuation strategy and improves its warning system. So, according to the National Crisis Management Manual, the CMC is comprised ideally of the following. So, I'm going to show you the graph about the CMC. My next topic is Incident Command System. What is Incident Command System? It is a standardized management framework used by crisis management organization to coordinate response operations during emergencies, disasters, and crises. And it provides a clear structure so that all agencies, responders, and stakeholders work together effectively under a unified command. There are 5 major components of ICS. So the first one is Incident Commander, overall leader responsible for managing the crisis response, and the incident commander are the ones who decides on strategies, priorities, and resources needed. Next is the operations section. So this handles on-the-ground response like rescue, evacuation, and relief distribution. Third one is the planning section. So they are the ones who collects data, forecast developments, and prepares action plans. The fourth one is logistics sections. So they manage supplies, equipments, and facilities, and personnel. The last one is finance and administration section. So from the word finance, they track expenses, management contracts, and handle cost analysis.
Good morning, sir. I am Danica A. Ilaheo, and my topic is ICS Organizational Structure, or the ICS Incident Command System. The ICS organizational structure is based on the size and complexity of the crisis, as well as the specifics of the hazard environment created by the incident. The ICS, or Incident Command System, organizational structure is a standardized on-scene, all-hazard incident managed approach used in emergency response situation. It provides a clear chain of command and structured rules and responsibilities to ensure effective coordination and communication during incidents like wildfires, natural disaster, terrorist attacks, or large public events. There are 3 modules in the ICS organizational structure. 1 is the Incident Commander. The ICS Commander, or Incident Commander, is the single person who commands the incident response and is the final decision-making authority on the ground. Its role is to efficiently and effectively integrate the people and the resources to contain the current crisis. The Incident Commander is the person in charge of the overall incident, responsible for setting incident objectives, strategies, and priorities. An incident commander can be a single incident commander. Is a single person command. There is only one person to command. B. Unified commander is a person designated to a command on larger incidents when multiple agencies are involved. A unified command typically includes a command representative from primary involved agencies and one from that group to act as the spokesman, though not designated as an incident commander. Unified command is a structure that allows multiple agencies or jurisdictions to work together effectively during an incident without giving up their individual authority or responsibilities. C is the area commander. Is the person designated during multiple incident situation where he has to prove support for incident commanders at separated location. Area commander is responsible for overseeing the overall management of multiple incidents or complex incidents that have been divided into separate incident commands. Number 2, the general staff. They provide planning and operations, direction and supervision, resources procurement, and allocation and support services. The operation chief, tasked with directing all actions to meet the incident objectives. The operation chief is one of the key leadership roles. This position is responsible for managing all tactical operations during an incident. The planning section chief, tasked with the connection and display of incident information, primarily consisting of the status of all resources and overall status of the incident. The planning section is responsible for collecting, evaluating, and disseminating information about the incident. It is also plays a key role in developing the Incident Action Plan, or IAP, which outlines the objectives and strategies for responding to the incident. The planning section helps ensure that incident operations are based on accurate, up-to-date information and that future planning is proactive, not reactive. The Finance or Administration Section Chief, tasked with tracking incident-related cost, personnel, records, requisition, and administering procurement contracts required by logistics. Finance or Administration Section Chief is tracked incident cost, manages contracts, and handles claims and timekeeping. The Logistics Section Chief, tasked with providing all resources, services, and support required by the incident. Logistics Section is provide support, resources, and all services needed. Example, food, medical, supplies, and communications. Number 3 is the technical staff. They provide technical advice to the incident commander, and they are 1. The safety officer monitors safety conditions and develops measures for ensuring the safety for all assigned personnel. Safety officer monitors safety conditions and develops safety measures. A liaison serve as the primary contact for supporting agency assisting at an incident. The public information officer serve as conduit for information to internal and external stakeholders, including the media or other organizations seeking information directly from the incident or event. In short, Public Information Officer is managed communication with the public and media. And this is the ICS basic organizational structure. Public Information Officer or the spokesperson. The Public Information Officer or PIO or the spokesperson ensures that accurate information and a consistent message are provided to media in crisis. There should only be one spokesperson. The PIO or Public Information Officer is a person responsible for managing and communicating information from an organization to the public, media, and stakeholders. They serve as the official voice of the organization, ensuring that messages are clear, accurate, and consistent. And this is the function of PIO. 1. Provide information openly and honestly with minimum delay. 2. Contribute to confidence, trust, respect, and esteem of the members of the CMC and of the ICS. 3. Promote a greater understanding of the CMC and ICS and its contribution to overall effort and restoring peace and order. Rules of the PIO. 1. Know the media. 2. Engage the media. And 3. Tell the story, good or bad, accurately and timely. Responsibilities of the PIO. 1. Ensure that all information provided to internal or external audience is accurately. 2. Take appropriate action to correct erroneous information that appears in any medium. 3. Avoid promotional, self-serving releases and even staged solely for publicity purposes. And last, protect classified information in the interest of the safety of victims and family and that of national security, including the security of one's operations.
Good morning, sir. My name is Princess Kim Pauline M. Cancamo. My report is about Public and Media Affairs Group. Public and Media Affairs Group is a team responsible for managing communication and information during crisis situation or emergencies. Example of media relations is press conferences, holding a press conference to share information about a crisis or event with journalists. Number 2 is interview, providing interviews to media representative to share information or clarify issues. Number 3 is press release, issuing press releases to share information with the media and public. Number 4 is media briefings, conducting regular briefings with media representative to update them on a situation. Public relation is social media update, sharing information and updates on social media platform to inform the public. Number 2 is statement, issuing public statement to address concerns or issues affecting the public. Number 3 is community outreach, engaging with the local communities through events, meetings, or other activities to build relationship and trust. This example illustrates how media relations and public relations can be used to communicate effectively with different audiences during crisis situation or everyday operations. So here's the organizational structure of PMAG within the ICS. Number 1 is Public Information Officer, PIO, leads the PMAG and manager media relations. Number 2 is Media Relations Selection, handles interaction with the media. Number 3 is Public Relations Section, communicates with the general public. Number 4 is Monitoring Unit, tracks and processes information within the media center. The PMAG is part of the ICS structure, working alongside other sections such as Operations Section, Planning Section, Logistics Section, Finance or Admin Section, Safety Officer, Liaison Officer. The PMAG's role is to support the incident commander or manager by managing communication and information. Thank you.
Good day, sir. Good day, everyone. I am Paris Joy M. Lurnias, and I am the fourth reporter for Chapter 4, and my topic is all about responsibilities of NDRRMC. Ano nga ba ang NDRRMC? Isa itong ahensya ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas na responsible sa pagpaplano, koordinasyon at pagtugon sa mga sakuna tulad ng bagyo, lindol, baha at iba pang kalamidad. Layunin ng NDRRMC na mabawasan ang epekto ng mga sakuna sa buhay, ari-arian at kalikasan sa pamamagitan ng maagang paghanda, mabilis na tugon at epektibong rehabilitasyon. At ang pangalawa naman ang NDRRMF. Ano nga ba ang NDRRMF? Isa itong gabay ng Pilipinas na kung paano maghanda, mag-respond, magbangon at magpatatag mula sa mga kalamidad o sakuna tulad ng bagyo, lindol, baha at iba pa. Layunin nitong magpababa ang panganib at pinsala sa buhay, ari-arian at kalikasan sa pamamagitan ng maayos na koordinasyon ng gobyerno, mga komunidad at iba. At ang pangatlo naman ay ang NDRRMP. Ano nga ba ang NDRRMP? Ang nagsisilbing gabay o plano kung paano ipatutupad ang mga polisiya at hakbang para sa disaster risk reduction at management. At dito naman tayo sa NDRRMC members. NDA or Department of National Defense na kumikilos bilang tagapangulo or chairperson ng isang partikular na konseho, committee o grupo na may kinalaman sa seguridad at depensa ng bansa. Halimbawa, ang DND Secretary ay maaring maging chairperson ng National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. At dito naman tayo sa DILG or Department of the Interior and Local Government. Ang DILG bilang pangalawang tagapangulo or vice chairperson para sa kahandaan ng sakuna ay may tungkulin tiyakin na handa ang mga pamahalaang lokal or LGU at ang mga mamamayan sa posibleng panganib o sakuna gaya ng lindol, bagyo, baha at iba pa. At dito naman sa DSWD or Department of Social Welfare and Development ay bilang Vice Chairperson for Disaster Response ang nangunguna sa pagtulong sa mga mamamayan pagkatapos ng isang sakuna. Sila ang responsible sa relief operation, evacuation at agarang pangangailangan ng mga apektado upang masigurong maibalik agad sa normal ang buhay ng mga tao. Naman tayo sa DOST or Department of Science and Technology ay isang bilang Vice Chairperson for Disaster Prevention and Mitigation ay tagapanguna sa paggamit ng agham at teknolohiya upang mapigil o mapaliit dito ang pagbibigay ng babala, impormasyon at kagamitan upang mapaghanda ng mga tao ang mga posibleng panganib. Next, NEDA or National Economic and Development Authority. Ang NEDA ay isang tumutulong na muling ibangon ang ekonomiya, kabuhayan at infrastruktura ng mga lugar na tinamaan ng kalamidad upang makabalik sa normal ang pamumuhay ng mga tao at mas mapatibay pa ang mga komunidad laban ng mga sumusunod na sakuna. Dito naman tayo sa National Council Members. DOH or Department of Health. Ang kalihim ng DOH ay may mahalagang papel sa pagtiyak ng ligtas, malusog at may akses sa serbisyong medikal ang bawat Pilipino. Siya ang pangunahing tagapamahala ng mga patakarang pangkalusugan sa bansa. Next, DNR or Department of Environment na responsible sa pangangalaga, pamamahala at pagpapaunlad ng kalikasan at likas na yaman ng bansa. Sila ang nangunguna sa paggawa ng mga polisiya at programa para maprotektahan ang kapaligiran, kagubatan, yamang tubig at iba pang likas na yaman. Next, DE or Department of Agriculture ay isang nangunguna sa mga hakbang para paunlarin ang agrikultura at tiyakin ang seguridad sa pagkain ng bansa. Layunin niyang mapaunlad ang kabuhayan ng mga Pilipinong umaasa sa agrikultura at gawing mas matatag ang sektor na ito para pangbansang kaunlaran. Next, DepEd or Department of Education ang nangunguna sa pagbibigay ng direksyon at pamumuno sa edukasyon ng kabataan upang matiyak na ang bawat Pilipino ay may akses sa dekalidad, inklusibo at makabuluhang edukasyon ng makatutulong sa kanilang kinabukasan at sa kaunlaran ng bansa. Next, DOE or Department of Energy ang responsible sa pamumuno at pamamahala ng mga programa, polisiya at regulasyon na may kinalaman sa enerhiya ng bansa. Kabilang dito ang pagpapaunlad ng mga mapagkukunan ng enerhiya. Example ani is kuryente, langis, natural gas. Next, DOF or Department of Finance. Pilipinas, ang kanyang pangunahing tungkulin ay ang pamahalaan ang mga usaping pinansyal ng bansa. Tulad ng pagbuo ng mga polisiya sa buwis, pamamahala sa pundo ng gobyerno at pagtiyak na maayos ang takbo ng ekonomiya ng bansa. Siya rin ang tagapayo ng Pangulo pagdating ng mga usaping ekonomiya at pananalapi. Next, DTI or Department of Trade and Industry. Isang ahensya ng pamahalaan sa Pilipinas na responsible sa number 1, pagpapaunlad ng negosyo at industriya. Pangalawa, pagpapasigla ng kalakalan kapwa lokal at internasyonal. Pangatlo, pagtatanggol ng karapatan ng mga mamimili. At last, pagtulong sa mga maliliit na negosyo. Next, DOTC or Department of Transportation and Communication ang namumuno sa kagawaran ng nangangasiwa sa lahat ng bagay na may kinalaman sa transportasyon at komunikasyon ng Pilipinas. Transportasyon ay kalsada or paliparan, communication, telepono, internet, postal service, at iba pang uri ng komunikasyon pampubliko. Next, DBM or Department of Budget and Management. Ang DBM ay isang ahensya ng pamahalaan na responsible sa pagplano, paglalaan at pamamahala ng budget ng buong gobyerno. Sa madaling salita, sila ang aasikaso kung paano gagastusin ng pamahalaan ang pera ng bayan. Next, pamahalaan ang pera ng bayan. Next, DPWH or Department of Public Works and Highway. Ang kalihim ng DPWH ay mahalaga dahil siya ang nangunguna sa pagpapagawa at pag-ayos ng mga pampublikong infrastruktura ng ginagamit ng lahat, gaya ng mga kalsada, tulay, at gusali. Isa ito sa pinakamalaking kagawaran sa gobyerno pagdating ng proyekto at budget. Next, DFA or Department of Foreign Affairs ay isang mataas na opisyal ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas na namumuno sa DFA. Siya ang responsible sa pakikipag-ugnayan ng bansa sa ibang mga bansa gaya ng diplomasya o pakikipagsundo sa ibang bansa. Pangangalaga sa kapakanan ng mga Pilipino sa ibang bansa or OFW. Next, DOJ or Department of Justice ay isang mataas na opisyal ng pamahalaan na namumuno sa DOH. Siya ang may pananagutan sa pagpapatupad ng mga batas at sa sistemang pagkatarungan ng bansa. Next, DOLE or Department of Labor and Employment. Ang nangangasiwa sa mga polisiya at programa para maprotektahan ang kapakanan ng mga manggagawa at matulungan ang mga employer sa tamang pamamahala ng kanilang empleyado. Next, DOT or Department of Tourism. Ang kalihim ng kagawaran ng turismo ay ang pinuno ng Department of Tourism sa Pilipinas. Siya ang responsible sa pagbuo at pagpapatupad ng mga patakaran at programa sa naglalayong paunlarin at itaguyod ang turismo sa bansa. Pinangangalagaan niya ang mga interes ng industriya ng turismo upang mapalakas ang ekonomiya at maipakita ang kagandahan at kultura ng Pilipinas sa buong mundo. Next, UPA or Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process. Siya ang may pananagutan sa pagsubaybay at pagtiyak na ang mga programa, proyekto at patakaran ng gobyerno ay naipapatupad ng maayos at epektibo. Tiniyak din niya na nakakamit ang mga layunin ng administrasyon sa pamamagitan ng mahusay na pamamahala at pagtutok sa resulta ng mga gawain ng iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Next, CHED or Commission on Higher Education ay ang pinuno ng Commission on Higher Education sa Pilipinas. Siya ang namumuno at nangangasiwa sa mga patakaran at programa para sa edukasyon sa kolehiyo at universidad. Responsible siya ang pagtiyak na mataas ang kalidad ng edukasyon sa mga institusyong pang-higher education sa bansa at sa pagsulong ng mga proyekto na magpapabuti sa sistema ng kolehiyo or universidad. Tinitiyak din niya na naaayon ang mga curriculum, pagsasanay ng mga guro at mga pasilidad sa mga pangangailangan ng mga estudyante at lipunan. Next, AFP or Armed Forces of the Philippines ay tumutukoy sa kalihim ng hukbong katihan ng Pilipinas o minsan ay tinatawag ding kalihim ng sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas. Siya ang mataas na opisyal ng pamamahala at pangangasiwa sa mga gawain ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Sa madaling salita, siya ang responsible sa pamumuno, pagplano at papatupad ng mga pulisiya para sa depensa at seguridad ng bansa. Next, PNP or Philippines National Police. Ang Chief PNP ay pinakamataas na opisyal o pinuno ng buong hanay ng kapulisan sa bansa. Siya ang namumuno at nangangasiwa sa lahat ng operasyon, programa at polisiya ng PNP upang mapanatili ang kapayapaan, kaayusan at kaligtasan ng publiko. PNRC or Philippines National Red Cross ang pangunahing tagapagtupad ng mga programa at polisiya ng organisasyon. Siya ang namumuno sa pag-araw-araw ng operasyon ng Red Cross sa buong bansa. Next, NEPC-VDC or National Anti-Poverty Commission Victims of Disaster and Calamities Sector ay isang grupo ng mga eksperto at kinatawan mula sa iba't ibang ehensya ng gobyerno, pribadong sektor at civil society na gumagabay sa mga patakaran at programa para labanan at pigilan ang anumang uri ng karahasan laban sa mga bata sa Pilipinas. Next, NCRFW or National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women. Ang namumuno sa komisyon at nangasiwa sa pagpapatupad ng mga patakaran, programa at advokasya para sa gender equality at women empowerment sa bansa. Next, HUDCC or Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Councilor. Ang HUDCC ay isang dating ahensya ng pamahalaan ng Pilipinas na nangunguna sa pagplano, pag-uugnay at pagsubaybay sa mga programa ng pabahay sa buong bansa. Bahagi ito ng sektor ng pabahay at urban development at tumutulong upang matugunan ang pangangailangan sa pag-abot kayang tirahin lalo na para sa mga mahihirap. Next, GSIS or Government Service Insurance System ay isa itong ahensya ng pamahalaan ng Pilipinas na nagbibigay ng mga benepisyo sa mga kawani ng gobyerno tulad ng life insurance, disability benefits, loan program, and burial and survivorship benefits. Next, SSS or Social Security System. Ang SSS ay isang ahensya ng pamahalaan sa Pilipinas na nagbibigay ng mga benepisyo sa mga pribadong manggagawa, self-employed or OFW at ibang miyembro. Ito ay katumbas ng GSIS pero para sa mga nasa pribadong sektor. Mga serbisyong ibinibigay ng SSS, pension, maternity at sickness benefits. Next, PhilHealth or Philippine Health Insurance Corporation. Ang PhilHealth ay isang ahensya ng pamahalaan na nagbibigay ng sigurong kalusugan para sa lahat ng mamamayang Pilipino. Layunin nitong tiyaking may akses ang bawat Pilipino sa abot-kamayng serbisyong medikal kapag sila'y nagsasakit o na-ospital o nangangailangan ng tulong medikal. Next, ULAP or Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines. Ang ULAP ay isang pambansang samahan ng mga lokal na opisyal ng pamahalaan sa Pilipinas. Isa itong umbrella organisasyon at binubuo ng iba't ibang liga ng mga lokal na pamahalaan tulad ng League or Province of the Philippines, League of City of the Philippines. Next, LPP or League of Province of the Philippines. Ang Pangulo ng LPP ang pinuno ng liga at ang pangunahing tagapagsalita ng mga gobernador sa bansa. Example, nangunguna sa papaunlad ng mga programa at polisiya para sa mga lalawigan. Next, LCP or League of City of the Philippines. Ang Pangulo ng LCP ang pinuno ng liga at siyang kumakatawan sa mga lungsod sa harap at pangbansang pamahalaan at iba pang sektor. Example, nangunguna sa pagbuo at pagpapatupad ng mga programa at polisiya na makakatulong sa mga lungsod. Next, LMP or League of Municipalities of the Philippines. Ang Pangulo ng LMP ang pinuno ng liga at siyang kumakatawan sa mga bayan sa harap ng pangbansang pamahalaan at iba pang sektor. Example, nangunguna sa pagbuo at pagpapatupad ng mga programa at polisiya sa na makatutulong sa mga bayan. Next, LMB o Liga ng mga Barangay ay isang organisasyon na binubuo ng mga punong barangay mula sa iba't ibang.
Good day, sir. I'm Aileen Sigi. I am the last reporter. My topic is Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. The Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is formally known as Regional Disaster Coordinating Council, RA 10121-2010, Section 10. Their tasks are the following. 1. To coordinate, integrate, supervise, and evaluate the activities of the LDRRMC. 2. To ensure disaster-sensitive regional development plans. 3. To convene the different regional line agencies and concerned institutions and authorities in case of emergency. Last, to establish an operating facility to be known the Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Operations Center whenever necessary. The Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council are responsible for coordinating and overseeing local disaster management efforts to ensure disaster-resilient regional development plans, to convene agency during emergencies, establishing a regional operations center for disaster response. They play a key role in regional disaster preparedness and response. The Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, formerly referred to as Provincial, City, and Municipal Disaster Coordinating Council, RA 10121-2010, Section 11. The local chief executive as the chairperson, LDRRMC member are the local planning and development officer, the head of the LDRRMO, the head of the local social welfare and development office, the head of the local health office, the head of the local agriculture office, the head of the gender and development office, the head of the local engineering office, the head of the local internary office, the head of the local budget office, the division head, superintendent of school of the DepEd, the highest ranking officer at the Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP assigned in the area, the provincial director, city, municipal chief of the Philippine National Police, or PNP, the provincial director, city, municipal, fire marshal of the Bureau of Fire Protection, the president of the Association of Barangay Captains, the Philippine National Red Cross, 4 accredited CSOS member, and 1 private sector representative member. The Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is composed of the various local government official and representative from different agencies, include local chief, department heads, planning, social welfare, health, agriculture, and etc. Military and police official, fire department officer, education officer, barangay captains, Philippine National Red Cross. Function of the LDRRMC. The LDRRMC shall have the following function. RA 10121-2010, Section 11. First, to approve, monitor and evaluate the implementation of the LDRRM's MPS and regularly review and test the plan consistent with other national and local planning programs. Second, to ensure the integration of disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation into local development plans, program, and budget as strategy in sustainable development and poverty reduction. Recommend the implementation of forced or preemptive evacuation of local residents if necessary, and last, to convene the local council once every 3 months or as necessary. The Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council has following function: approve, monitor, and evaluate local disaster risk reduction plans, to integrate disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation into local development plans, to recommend evacuation when necessary, meet regularly every 3 months or as needed to coordinate efforts. These functions help ensure effectiveness, disaster management, and the local level. Barangay Development Council. The Barangay Development Council, formerly known as the Barangay Disaster Coordinating Council, RA 10121-2010, Section 11. They serve as the LDRRMCs in every barangay. It is under the Punong Barangay and shall facilitate and ensure the participation of the less 2 CSO representative from existing and active community-based people organization representing the most vulnerable and marginalized groups in the barangay. The Barangay Development Council are local council in each barangay that focus on disaster risk reduction and management. They are led by the Punong Barangay and include representatives from civil society organization. The present vulnerable group, their role is to facilitate disaster preparedness and response effort at the barangay level. The Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office is responsible for setting the direction, development, implementation, and coordination of disaster risk management programs within their territorial jurisdiction. It should be established in every province, cities, municipality, and barangay disaster risk reduction and management committee in every barangay. LDRRMO shall be under the office of the Governor, City of Municipal Mayor in the Punong Barangay. In case of the BDRRMC, the LDRRMOS shall be initially organized and composed of the DRRMO to be assisted by 3 staff responsible for RA 10121-2010, Section 12. 1. Administration and Training. 2. Research and Planning. And 3. Operation and Warning. The Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office is responsible for planning, implementing, coordinating disaster risk management program. The provincial, city, and municipal levels, each barangay has similar committee to handle disaster management at the local level. Function of LDRRMO. Here are the some of the function of LDRRMO according to the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010. 1. To design program and coordinate disaster risk reduction and management activities consistent with the National Council standard and guidelines. Facilitate and support risk assessment and contingency planning activities at the local level. Consolidate local disaster risk information which include natural hazard, vulnerabilities, and climate change risk and maintain a local risk map. Organize and conduct training, orientation, and knowledge management activities on disaster risk reduction and management at the local level. Identify, assess, and manage the hazard, vulnerabilities, and risks that may occur in their locality. Disseminate the information and raise public awareness about those hazard, vulnerabilities, and risks, their nature, effects, early warning sign, and countermeasure. Identify and implement cost-effective risk reduction measure strategies. Maintain a database of human resource, equipment, directories, and location of critical infrastructures and their capacities such as hospitals and evacuation center. Establish linkage network with the other LGO for disaster risk reduction and emergency response purposes. Recommend through the LDRRMC that attachment of local ordinance, establish and provincial, city, municipal, barangay disaster risk reduction and management operation center. The local disaster risk reduction and management office performs several case functions include coordinating disaster risk reduction and activities, conducting risk assessment and planning, maintaining local risk maps, providing training and knowledge management, identifying and managing hazard, map risk, raising public awareness about disaster and risk, implementing cost-effective risk reduction measures. This effort enhances disaster preparedness and response capabilities. The LDRRMC shall take the lead in preparing for, responding to, and recovering from effects of any disaster based on the following criteria. 1. The BDC if a barangay is affected. 2. The city, municipal, DRRMC if 2 or more barangays are affected. The provincial, DRRMC if 2 or more cities, municipalities are affected. The regional DRRMC if 2 or more provinces are affected, and the NDRRMC if 2 or more regions are affected. During emergency, the local agency for disaster response depends on the scope of the disaster. First, the barangay level, Barangay Development Council. Second, the city municipal level, City Municipal DRRMC. Third, provincial level, Provincial DRRMC. For the regional level, Regional DRRMC. And the last, national level, National DRRMC. Each level takes charge based on the number of areas affected. That's all. Thank you.